What if I told you that narcissistic abuse is one of the most damaging experiences you can go through?
Life with you was joyless!
You gaslighted me!
Okay, let me explain. What makes it tougher is that the damage is not always visible. Because here's the truth. The wounds left by narcissistic abuse can be far more devastating than physical violence. They attack your mind, they destroy your confidence, and they twist your reality. You don't just walk away from it. You leave carrying scars that no one else can see and a pain most people can't fully understand. The truth is, healing from narcissistic abuse isn't about just moving on. It's about going through the messy parts of rebuilding yourself piece by piece, and that doesn't happen overnight. By the end of this video, you won't just know the 10 steps to heal from narcissistic wounds. You'll understand exactly how to apply them. Each step builds on the last, guiding you out of confusion, pain, and self-doubt, and into clarity, strength, and self-love. Are you ready to take the first step, the one that opens the door to every other stage of healing? Acknowledge and accept the abuse. The first step is facing reality. You were abused.
I think I need a break. Excuse me.
This is often the hardest part because narcissists train you to doubt your own perception. They gaslight you, twist stories, and convince you it was your fault. You feel hurt, but you're told you're loved. You see harm, but you're told it's care. This inner clash is draining and confusing whether you're receiving love or abuse. This relates to the theory of cognitive dissonance, coined by the famous psychologist Leon Festinger. He explained that when we hold two conflicting beliefs at the same time, our mind struggles to make sense of it. Acknowledging the abuse is how you break free from that cycle. That moment is powerful because it reclaims your reality from the lies that were forced upon you. This is the first step to heal from narcissistic abuse. Acknowledge and accept the abuse, which basically means saying, yes, this happened to me. Yes, it was real. And no, it wasn't my fault. Accepting the truth sets the foundation for recovery. And once you accept it, the next step is critical because it will protect you from further harm. Create distance, no contact or low contact. You've taken the first step toward your healing process.
I belong here. Okay, let's go.
You acknowledged and accepted that the abuse happened to you, that it was real. However, it is not going to be a smooth transition to the next steps because the narcissist will get in the way. Have you noticed that when you start to pull away, the narcissist always tries to lure you back? And guess what? Their most favorite strategy is love bombing. They know you all too well. They know your weak and soft spots. They know how to break your walls down. They might send you expensive gifts or make dramatic but fake apologies and promises. And once you give in, you will get stuck in step 1. That's why this step 2, creating distance by going no or low contact, is critical. If possible, block their number, unfollow them, delete old messages, and cut off every unnecessary tie. If you must stay in touch, such as in co-parenting situations, then go low contact. Keep communication minimal, businesslike, and without emotion. As trauma recovery expert Pete Walker puts it, boundaries are the birthplace of self-respect. Every time you cut off their access to you, you are choosing yourself. What's one boundary you can set right now that protects your peace and stops giving the narcissist access to your energy? But simply shutting the door isn't enough. To stay strong, you need to truly understand what you've been through, which leads us to the next crucial step. Educate yourself about narcissistic abuse. You've taken 2 powerful steps already. You faced the truth and you created distance. Without understanding what really happened to you, it's easy to fall back into the same trap with the same narcissist or even a new one. That's why step 3 is education. You need to study the enemy's playbook. Learn about tactics like gaslighting, love bombing, projection, triangulation, and silent treatments. The more you understand their patterns, the more you realize it wasn't me, it was the abuse. That clarity is freedom. It untangles the knots of confusion that kept you blaming yourself. Aaron Beck, the founder of cognitive behavioral therapy, taught that when people notice unhealthy thinking patterns, they can challenge them and start to change. Think about that for a moment. Narcissists thrive in the dark. They rely on your ignorance and confusion. But the moment you shine light on their strategies, the illusion breaks. You start to see the strings they've been pulling all along. And once you see the strings, you can't be manipulated in the same way again. Education also builds resilience. It equips you with language for your pain. Instead of saying, maybe I'm overreacting, you'll say, that was gaslighting. Instead of thinking, why can't I make them happy? You'll say, they're projecting their own emptiness onto me. Every article you read, every book you finish, every video you watch, it all rebuilds your inner compass. And slowly, the fog lifts. You stop walking blind and start moving with clarity. But knowledge alone isn't enough. You also need to feel the weight of what you lost. That's why the next step is also a must. Allow yourself to grieve. By now, you've taken some of the bravest steps anyone can take.
It is dangerous to look at people in such a fashion. Something terrible may happen.
You've acknowledged the abuse, created distance, and educated yourself about the truth. But even with that clarity, you might still feel something heavy pressing down on your chest, a quiet ache, an emptiness, a sadness that won't go away. That's grief. And here's the thing most people don't understand. You are not just grieving the person, you're grieving the trust that was shattered, the dreams that were stolen, the years you can't get back, and the version of yourself that was silenced. This is why the step 4 is so important. You must allow yourself to grieve. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, a psychiatrist, described 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. They don't always come in order, and there's no set timeline. What they show is that grief isn't about getting over it. It's about moving through it. So let yourself cry. Scream into a pillow if you have to. Write down everything you never got to say in a journal. Grief makes space for healing, but it doesn't give you all the tools to rebuild. When the weight feels too heavy, the next step will give you the tools to carry the burden. Seek professional support. You faced the truth, created distance, educated yourself, and allowed yourself to grieve. That's no small feat, but here's something you need to hear. You don't have to carry this weight alone. Healing from narcissistic abuse is a journey, and while self-reflection and inner strength are powerful, sometimes the scars are too deep to navigate on your own. This is the step 5 to heal from narcissistic abuse. Seek professional support. This is where professional support becomes life-changing. Working with a trauma-informed therapist or counselor is not a sign of weakness, it's an act of courage. A skilled therapist helps you piece together what feels shattered. They guide you through the messy layers of pain, confusion, and trauma responses that you might not even recognize in yourself. A good therapist can help you notice and challenge the false beliefs the narcissist made you believe. Allow yourself to feel grief and anger, but don't let it take over your life. Use grounding or calming techniques to handle triggers and painful memories. Slowly rebuild your self-worth and confidence from within. Think of it this way. If your body had been in a serious accident, you wouldn't hesitate to see a doctor. Emotional wounds deserve the same care. Therapy is the rehabilitation of the soul. You've already proven your strength by surviving the abuse. Seeking help is not about replacing that strength, it's about amplifying it. So give yourself permission to seek professional support. Then you'll discover tools, insights, and strength you didn't know you had. If therapy gives you the tools to heal from within, the next step will help you get through it. Rebuild your support system. Think about it. Narcissists slowly cut you off from your connections.
Feel the energy that comes into being when our collective focus is woven together.
They pit you against your friends. They make you doubt your family. They cast themselves as your only safe harbor while secretly turning the world against you. It must have been so draining to hear only one voice. That's why step 6 is so critical. You need to rebuild your support system, which can take many forms, such as trusted friends or family who truly see you and validate your experience, support groups, online or in person, where you're surrounded by survivors who get it without you having to explain, mentors or allies who guide you toward your goals and remind you of your future. But rebuilding your circle after narcissistic abuse takes courage, because trust feels fragile. You may find yourself thinking, what if I let the wrong person in again? That fear is normal. That's trauma speaking. And this is where your new boundaries come in. This time, you're not blindly letting people in. You're choosing. You're testing. You're watching how they treat you when you're vulnerable. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Ask yourself, who makes me feel lighter after I leave their presence, not heavier? Those are your people. Build around them. And once you've built that circle of support, something powerful happens. You start to step back into your life and identity, not as a victim, but as someone taking back their power. And that brings us to the next step. Reconnect with yourself. Think back for a moment. Who were you before the narcissist?
A winter storm has taken down a tree at the house I'm staying in.
What lit you up? What passions, dreams, or little quirks made you, you? Chances are, the narcissist dimmed or even erased those parts of you. They criticized your hobbies, they mocked your interests, or they made you feel guilty for wanting more than what served them. Slowly, you began to shrink. This is why step 7 is so powerful. Reconnect with yourself. It's not about bringing back the old you. It's about rediscovering, redefining, and rebuilding who you are now, free from control. So how do you reconnect with yourself? Start small. Pick up that hobby you abandoned because it wasn't good enough. Read the books you love without worrying if they'd roll their eyes. Dance in your living room, paint, garden, sing, write. Do the things that remind you that you are more than the pain you endured. Start journaling, meditating, or simply asking yourself, what do I want today? The narcissist's control worked by cutting you off from yourself. And once you begin to rebuild that sense of self, the next step becomes essential, which brings us to step 8. When you were with the narcissist, you were trained to turn mistakes into blame, flaws into shame, and needs into selfishness.
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead.
Over time, you learn to disregard your needs, even basic ones like self-care. The narcissist made you feel guilty for taking care of yourself because you're not prioritizing them. That's why this step 8 is about changing that voice with self-compassion. This step isn't just about mindset. It's about daily practices that remind your body and soul that you are worthy of care. Call it self-care if you will, but not the shallow, commercialized kind. I'm not talking about bubble baths and face masks, unless those genuinely feed you. I'm talking about intentional acts that rebuild your emotional, mental, and physical strength. That could mean starting your morning with a grounding meditation instead of scrolling through feed filled with chaos, moving your body through exercise, stretching, or walking, not as punishment, but as gratitude for what it carries you through. Rest without guilt. Being tired isn't something to be proud of. It's a sign you need care. Every time you choose compassion over criticism, you plant seeds of healing. Every time you choose self-care over self-neglect, you water those seeds. And slowly, you start to bloom again. As researcher Kristen Neff explains, self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness you'd give a close friend. So let me ask you, if you spoke to yourself today the way you would comfort a hurting friend, what words would you say? Whisper those words to your heart. Write them down. Repeat them until they sink in. Self-compassion helps you reclaim what was lost, but healing also means protecting yourself, which brings us to the next step. You've started speaking to yourself with kindness.
And thou didst fill my veins with fire.
You've remembered how to treat yourself like someone worth caring for. That's powerful. But here's the thing. Self-compassion alone won't protect your healing, because the world outside you, it will test you. And this is where boundaries come in. Think of boundaries as invisible fences around your peace, your time, and your energy. They are not walls to shut the world out. They are doors you choose when, how, and who to let in. Without boundaries, you leave yourself open to the same cycles of harm that once broke you. Do you remember how the narcissist operated? They constantly break your boundaries. They pushed, they tested, they ignored every no you tried to speak. Over time, you stop saying no at all. This is step 9. Reestablish and strengthen your boundaries so you never sacrifice your peace for someone else's power again. What does that look like in real life? With your time, saying, I can't make it today without apologizing endlessly or feeling guilty. With your energy, refusing to entertain toxic conversations, gossip, or manipulation, even if you once felt obligated to listen. With your body, protecting your physical space, deciding who gets access to you, and recognizing that no is a full sentence. With your emotions, refusing to let someone else tell you how you should feel or dismiss your experiences. Boundaries aren't about punishment. They're about protection. They protect your inner child, your healing self, and the future you're still building. Here's the truth. People who respected you all along will accept your boundaries. People who benefited from crossing them will keep pushing your buttons. And that shows you exactly who deserves a place in your life. Psychologist Nedra Glover Tawwab, author of Set Boundaries, Find Peace, puts it simply. Boundaries are a form of self-love. Every time you enforce one, you are choosing you. So let me ask you, where in your life are you still saying yes when your soul is screaming no? When you live by your truth and protect your peace with boundaries, you step into your power. That's when you're ready for the final step, shifting from surviving to thriving. Step 10. Focus on growth and rebuilding your future. The narcissist ruined your growth and promising future by replacing it with future faking, where they painted a beautiful life with you years from now.
Let's visualize our planet here.
You kept on waiting when that promised future would come. However, they never followed through. This is where step 10 comes in. Focus on growth and rebuilding your future. Growth isn't about forgetting the past. It's about turning it into strength. It's taking what was meant to break you and using it to build something greater. Ask yourself, what do I want my future to look like? Who do I want to become now that I am free? Maybe it's pursuing dreams you had to put on hold. Maybe it's building a career, starting a project, or creating art from your pain. Maybe it's helping others who are where you once were. Or maybe for now, it's simply building a peaceful, joyful life where your heart feels safe again. Growth doesn't mean you'll never feel pain again. It means you'll know how to rise when it comes. It means you'll carry your story with strength instead of shame. It means you'll stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start declaring, this is what I built from it. Once you take these steps, there's no turning back, only moving forward toward your brighter future. So here's my challenge for you. When are you going to take that first step to healing? And if you've already started, where are you in the journey right now? Write it down in the comments, not just for yourself, but for someone else who needs to see they're not alone. And if this message resonated with you, share it with someone who may be silently struggling, because sometimes seeing that healing is possible is the first step to actually believing it. If you'd like more guidance on breaking free and reclaiming your strength, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Together we can build a space where awareness spreads, stories are heard, and healing becomes real.